Hello, church. I want to thank you for letting me come to you last week and speak to you on the topic of giving and tithing. Um, and I would like to discuss that a little further today. Last week, Pastor Michael touched on giving as a form of worship. And that's what I would like to talk to you about today, just to give you a few thoughts to think about. I think back to the story in the Gospels where Jesus is with his disciples in the temple, and he's watching the people come and drop their offering in the box in the temple, and he sees this widow, and she comes and she puts 2 mites into the box, and as she does that, Jesus gets his disciples' attention and he says, "Do you see this woman? And do you see what she has done?" He said, "I tell you the truth, she has put in more than anyone else today into this box because she gave out of her need." Put yourself in the place of her as she goes and makes this decision to give in the temple to God. You know that, I don't know, in my mind, she had to have been thinking through this decision. It couldn't have been a very flippant decision when it's all that she had. She had to be thinking through it. Like, okay, I'm about to give up everything to my God, my Father in heaven. She had to be thinking through, but, yes, it's a scary but. This is scary, but my Father has always been faithful in the past. My Father has always provided for me. Where else can I go to find more faithfulness or ability to provide than my Heavenly Father? I know He loves me. She had to be going through those features and characteristics of God. She had to be remembering all those attributes of God as she was going to do that, at least in my mind. That right there is worship. That right there, as we with maybe trepidation go up, about to make a decision, and we reflect and make a calculated decision based on past experiences and knowledge of who our Father is. That has to be worship right there. It reminds me of a child standing on a bed with his or her parent on the floor, kneeling down, telling the child to jump. And in that moment, the child is balancing the fears and the consequences if this goes wrong, and the rewards if this goes right. And what does the child do? Typically, the child jumps. After all that reflecting and balancing out, the child ultimately jumps. And what does the child usually say? "Do it again. Do it again, Mom. Do it again, Dad." I think that child is a good example of us as we stand on the precipice of worshiping God, even when it's scary, even with our finances. We reflect on God's faithfulness and how He's provided all the times in the past. We reflect on His amazing, limitless ability to provide. And we reflect on His love and how He loves us. We know He loves us. That right there is worship. That's at least half of it. That's part of the worship right there, is when we reflect on who He is. But then that worship is only made complete when we step through with faith and obey and jump and give to God and trust Him with our finances through obedience. Again, like the child on the bed, we take the lead. We balance out, we reflect, we remember, and ultimately we obey in faith. And we jump into our Father's hands and we trust Him. And then He has room to display His power, His glory, His love for us, and He supplies all of our needs. Things work out. We see provision. And something in our spirit, we just know it wasn't happenstance. It wasn't coincidence. In our spirit, we know that was my Heavenly Father catching me, providing for me. When we do that, the worship is then complete. Our minds are blown. We saw Him provide through the scary times, and then we really, truly worship. And then, perhaps like that little child, the words come out of our mouth to our Father. Okay, Father, do it again. I just encourage us all today, through all this time, not just our finances, but in every circumstance, let's worship the Father by reflecting and remembering on who He is, and then marching forward boldly by faith and obeying Him and watching Him come through. I love you, and I'm thankful for you as my family, and I look forward to the day when we're back here again. Have a good weekend, and talk to you soon.